This is going to be something else. I love that. Yeah, let me know where you're chatting from. I'm chatting from Ghana. We make the best jollof. Daisy is from South Africa. Oluwaseun is from Nigeria. In the diaspora from Aspen, Colorado. Oh man, don't we absolutely love this? Yep. Let me know where you're chatting to us from. And remember, a few housekeeping rules. Just keep your microphones off kindly. Just keep them on mute for me, please. You can put your videos on if you can afford that. If not, it's not a problem at all. So yeah, a lot of participants from Egypt, from South Africa, Aspen, Colorado. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Wow. So yes, we've been doing this for what, 3 years now. We're really, really excited. We're almost at 90 participants here this afternoon or this morning, depending on where you're connecting with us from. Oh, I've got Ethiopia in the house. Oh gosh, I love Ethiopia. Ethiopia is in the house. Tilahun, if I pronounce it right. If I didn't, I apologize. So Ethiopia is in the house. Zimbabwe, Constance is in the house from Zimbabwe. You're very welcome, Constance. This is truly Pan-African, and that's why we're here. The African story is a beautiful story, and we really look forward to all of you participating from across the continent and beyond and beyond. Let me know where you're from. Let me know where you are logging in from. I'm just going to wait just a few minutes here for us to get up, and we are at 90. I think that's good enough for us to begin. So hello, everyone. Hello, Africa. Hello, our Africans from the diaspora from around the world. My name is Anita Erskine. I am your host, the host of Africa's Business Heroes 2021. You know, later on, I'm going to explain something to you, a phrase that says it's African time. And I know you guys are feeling it right now. I'm so happy that I saw some of you from Egypt, from Ethiopia. It is our time. And it's not just our time because, you know, Africa is doing great things. It is our time because of you, the youth of Africa. You have the power to change and turn things around. And that is what ABH is all about. In our third year, we've been standing strong. You know, in 2020, of course, you know, the coronavirus did its thing. But one great, amazing thing that we also discovered was it pushed us. It challenged us to do more. It challenged ABH to do more. It challenged you, our African entrepreneurs, to do more. And what can I say? This is a place where you have access to a plethora of tools, training from industry leaders. You will mingle, you will rub shoulders with you know, like-minded go-getters like yourself. And of course, you have access to funding. And it is that funding that turns everything around. So Africa's Business Heroes is about looking at the resilience of the African entrepreneur, helping him or her mold themselves over, you know, the weeks that are ahead, but most importantly, ensuring that you walk away with the capital that helps you move your dream into reality. We've been here for 3 years. We're so proud of it. And you know what? Over the last 3 years, we have seen participants from across the continent, from the north, from the south, from central, from west, and from east. And that is why we say this is where the African dream is birthed. We're going to be having a fantastic day today, a fantastic afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you may be. We're also going to have a conversation between two heroes, two women I have come to admire. But for now, I would like to call on Jason Powell, who's the Executive Director for International at the Jack Ma Foundation. Jason.
Hey, Nita. Thanks for calling on me, and hope everyone's doing well. Well, first, I hope everyone's well and healthy. You know, importantly, I hope everyone is ready for an amazing 2021. I think if this year has taught us anything, it's really about resilience, determination, and importantly, compassion. Well, I'm thrilled that everyone's here watching online today. And as we gather to officially launch the third edition of the Africa Heroes Business Heroes Prize Competition, I'd like to start by telling a story. It's actually a story that goes back nearly 4 years ago. On July 21st, 2017, I found myself sitting at breakfast in Kigali with Mr. Ma in his hotel room. This was his first tour ever to Africa as an advisor to the United Nations. And we had just finished a number of meetings in Nairobi, Kenya. But the major highlight was a visit with local entrepreneurs. And that morning is something that I vividly recall. Over breakfast, as I was going through the agenda with Mr. Ma for the Youth Connect Forum, that was our event for the day, Mr. Ma stopped me and said, I'm going to announce a new program today. I'm going to announce a program by the Jack Ma Foundation to support Africa's entrepreneurs. I have confidence in Africa. I'm impressed by its entrepreneurs. I'd like to do something to help more African entrepreneurs realize their dreams. You know, what happened on this trip was quite significant. As we engaged with entrepreneurs, Mr. Ma was truly moved. And the reason is what he didn't hear a lot was, I'm looking to raise X amount of money, or I think my business could be worth X amount of dollars. Instead, he heard a lot of dreams. He heard what they wanted to achieve, and he felt their determination in how they wanted to change their communities. And I think that really struck with him. You know, and then the rest, as they say, the rest is history. The Jack Ma Foundation was founded in December of 2014, and our focus has been on supporting projects in 4 areas: education, entrepreneurship, women leadership, and of course, health and the environment. The Africa Business Heroes Prize Competition is one of our first projects internationally, and it also remains the largest program that we support with partners across Africa. And what we're building is a platform to support, to show, and to help grow African entrepreneurs across all sectors. And we're looking for those that are building a more sustainable and inclusive economy for the future of the continent. And while this is a purely philanthropic effort by the Jack Ma Foundation, I can say it pretty clearly, by all means, we mean business. This is why we're committed for the long term and have designed ABH to be a 10-year program. And our vision is that ABH will continue to thrive for the decades ahead. I've been personally privileged to witness and see tremendous growth in the African entrepreneur ecosystem over the last 3 years. And I think the ambition is being matched with amazing homegrown solutions. Opportunities in markets across Africa and abroad are growing fast. And technology and the internet are providing generational opportunities to drive inclusiveness and to leapfrog. Investors are also paying attention. Recently, Joe Tsai, who's the vice chairman of Alibaba Group and also a finale judge for ABH, really said it best. Pound for pound, African entrepreneurs today can match any entrepreneur in the world. And let me give you a few examples. Temi, she's our ABH 2019 Grand Prize winner. She's a CEO of Life Bank in Nigeria. And last year, she expanded across Nigeria with the support of our grant funding, and also later launched in Kenya. And during COVID-19, her business has thrived through providing solutions to the community. She's launched a few new business lines and services. One of my favorites is Moleye, CEO of Africa. He was a top 10 from 2019, based in Ivory Coast. He's seen his e-commerce platform revenue grow 5 times and is one of DHL's largest exporters out of Africa. He also tells me that some of the key advice he received from judges during the program has helped him make breakthroughs in his business and revenue models. And Omar, I think Omar's on the call today as well. CEO of Nawa Scientific, based in Cairo, Egypt, our second prize winner from 2019. He's built one of the largest private research hubs in Egypt, and he's seen his revenue rise 3x over last year and raise $1 million in funding. This came, I think, after a pretty tough start to 2020, but he's persevered. Of course, we also have Christelle and Chabet who are with us today, and will share their inspiring stories soon. But I'm sure they'll mention that this prize is intensive. It will require you to thoroughly examine and understand the mission and vision of your business, your values to society, the strength and sustainability of your business, your team. You'll have to defend yourself and your business to a series of judges. The process in itself is a boot camp for your business. And what we really hope through this is all applicants gain from this experience. The prize will award $1.5 million in grant funding to the top 10 this year. This is among the largest prizes in Africa for entrepreneurs. And while we recognize that, we also know that we can do more. We believe in the power of storytelling and that your journey has the potential to influence, inspire, and provide a call to action for others. Your story is our story, and that deserves to be told and amplified. Our 2019 documentary continues to gain audiences around the world. In addition to winning several awards in China, it was recently selected to attend two very prestigious film festivals, AMDOX in the US and Rapid Line in South Africa. So your stories are being seen around the world, and we will continue to invest in our show and our documentary with the aim to show Africa's entrepreneurial spirit to the world. Finally, we know that the Pan-African entrepreneur ecosystem can accomplish anything together. And this is why we have the vision for ABH to become an open platform for the entire entrepreneur community to connect, collaborate, inspire, and learn from one another. Let me close by thank you all for being here. I want to personally thank the ABH team and all of our partners across the continent for their trust and hard work in building this program together, hand in hand. So I look forward to everyone's success, and Africa Heroes, it's definitely your time to shine.
Thank you, Jason. It is their time to shine, our time to shine. But before you go, I have to say a big thank you for encouraging a lot of our women to take their seat at this very important ABH table. I mean, in fact, last year, in our last cohort, 50% of the top 10 finalists were women. So well done to you for that. I mean, I believe that the African woman has so much to offer, and this is the place where she can thrive. So thank you very much, Jason, and the ABH team. All right. And talking about the women, talking about their resilience, something really powerful struck us in 2020. And Jason has just said it, the power of storytelling. And each of these women who participated, well, and the men, also had extraordinary stories to tell about themselves and their communities and the purposes of their businesses. Two such women today, we like to call our heroes, or otherwise our sheroes, are going to be having a conversation between each other. And the basis of the conversation is to talk about life, their journey, and hey, what it takes to be a leading woman on the continent of Africa. I present to you the first episode of Hero to Hero with our two extraordinary women, Chibet and Christelle. Take a look.
Hi, Crystal.
Hi, Chibet.
Welcome to Kenya, to Nairobi.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you liking Nairobi so far?
Oh, it's fun. Pretty amazing city.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
We've brought two incredible heroes together to share their personal insights with each other and with you. Chibet Lassane won Africa's Business Heroes 2020. Her company, Bright Green Renewable Energy, is revolutionizing the way people cook across the continent by offering affordable, life-saving fuel solutions. Christelle Quizera came third in 2019 and has since gone on to win the Cisco Youth Leadership Prize at the 2020 Global Citizen Awards. Her business, Water Access Rwanda, is eradicating water scarcity and instilling dignity.
I heard you study a business. It has something to do with your grandmother. Can you elaborate?
So, growing up, I had observed how my grandmother would cook, and I noticed as a child that it was pretty difficult getting firewood, being in a smoky room, dealing with a very inefficient energy source. And for me, I thought this is not something that can continue when I have a skill set that can do something about it. And for me, it's more about looking at my society and thinking, how do we change the story? How do we change the things that are not working right for us? And how can we be those champions who bring that change and also tell the story to the rest of the world? Let's chat a bit about your background. I understand you had a very rare disease that affected a good chunk of your earlier life.
Yeah, so in 2011, that was actually when I just turned 18, I was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune illness called pemphigus. And it took forever to get a diagnosis. So by the time I was diagnosed, I really thought I was gonna die. So over time, it's grown my empathy, I would say. And that really inspired me. I think if it wasn't for getting pemphigus, I would have never went on to found a company that's committed to alleviate the pain of African women. So it's definitely something that's guided my life.
Okay, so let's get into business. Crystal, I know you run a business that is, very close to your heart. And like you said, is driven by empathy. And I know that has its own set of challenges. So what's the advice you would give to a young African out there who wants to start a business that is driven by a personal experience?
I mean, it's already a good situation they're in. So one of my strongest beliefs is that if you start a business for something you really care about, you have an unending source of energy. And as an entrepreneur, you need that. But it does have its own pitfalls that entrepreneurs should watch out for. The first one being that being so passionate about the business, sometimes it's hard to let go. Businesses sometimes feel like our own babies. And as you grow, you kind of do have to let your baby go a little bit, right? Like you have to acknowledge and accept and enjoy the reality that your business won't need you as much and that other people are gonna come in and drive it a different way. The other thing is you tend to want to move fast. In my case, the water crisis is such a huge challenge that I want to already have ended it, but it won't happen overnight. It's something that's going to take time. I feel like we should have gotten to them last year, right? Nobody should still have to go without water. And because of that, I want results and I want them fast.
There's an African proverb, if you want to go fast, go on your own. If you want to go far, go together.
Chebet, I also have some questions for you. So do we go with Africa or heroes?
Let's go with heroes.
As a hero, how does one hero lead others so they can become heroes too?
I think that's the nut we're trying to crack as entrepreneurs every day. The first thing, make sure the vision is very clear, because as a visionary, sometimes you assume the people around you can see your vision and they can't. The second thing I think you need to do is to give them space and room to work. The third thing is to allow them to make mistakes. Sometimes as entrepreneurs, when it's your baby, you can be very rigid and very angry when people make mistakes. But I think it's something we need to learn to be able to actually allow the people who work with us to rise to also be heroes in whatever they're doing.
So Chebet, one of the exciting things we're doing at Water Access Rwanda is trying to set up an automated production line, something you've been doing for years now. Can you tell me your experience around building a whole production line to automate your whole processes?
I was given a good piece of advice when I was starting Bright Green, and that was, when it comes to dreams, sometimes they can be big and scary. How to navigate that is to break it down into small and actionable steps. And that's what I did. So once upon a time, Bright Green actually used to make its product with hands. We would have people who would come and roll the chow with their hands and make these balls. And sometimes I look back and it's comical. I understand why everyone was laughing at me at that time. But what I was doing is I was breaking down the big dream into small, actionable steps. So we started with breaking down what are the processes that we need and then automating each bit by bit as we got funding, as we continue to prove the model. And one of the things I'd say is very important when you're building a manufacturing line is you don't want to fail at scale. So we started with our MVP, which is our minimal viable product, and made sure that we were solving the problem with the right solution, so that if there was something that needed improvement, that we would make it better at that small scale. So Christelle, there's Africa and there's heroes. Pick one.
Let's go for Africa.
What is one general assumption about Africa you would like to change?
Africa is a land full of opportunities, not challenges. We're not out asking for aid. We actually have a lot to offer.
100% true. Africa has real heroes like Chebet and Christelle who are driving our continent forward, and we're looking for more. Are you Africa's next leading entrepreneur? Do you have vision and passion? Are you a change maker? Then the 2021 Africa's Business Heroes competition is for you. You'll receive invaluable training and mentorship. Join a community of incredible minds. Get a chance to pitch your business and win a share of $1.5 million. For more, visit our social media channels and website now.
Ladies, you have made me tear up this day just listening to you, Chebet. And I remember the beginning of this extraordinary journey with ABH. And you, Christelle, I mean, I've been seeing you trailblazing. Two extraordinary women. Congratulations on everything you've accomplished and all the big things that are coming. Christelle, I'm going to start off with you. I mean, it has to be said that your youth is beautiful, and you know you are youthful, you're energetic, and you make no excuses. What is the best advice that you received, particularly in your darkest hours, Christelle? You know, when you were unwell, what would have been the best advice you received from someone that got you up and moving again?
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here and calling on for next heroes. One of the biggest advices I ever received was it goes like this: it hurts to have questions and no answers, but equally so to have answers and have nobody ask. And that came from a valuable mentor of mine. He used to be the president of my university, ended up joining as a board member of Water Access Rwanda, and that has guided me. From the moment I heard that, every time I know I need something, every time I know I have a question, I always remember the people with the answers, the people with the solution want to give it. It hurts them that they have answers that nobody's asking for. It hurts them that they have solutions that nobody's asking for. So that was a life-changing advice for me. And I think it's something that has translated well for the rest of my company. It's a big motto. It's a big guiding value for all our team at Water Access Rwanda. When you have a question, remember somebody with the answer is eager to give you that answer. So please ask.
Do ask the questions. That's why, Chebet, I'm asking you this next question, even though there's only two of you. But Chebet, you know, you told us stories of your grandmother and your mother, and you know how you were formed and how you were molded. How easy or difficult has it been to go back to that same community that inspired your business, to make the necessary changes, to move, you know, I would say move our women away from the tradition? How easy or difficult has it been so far?
Okay, thank you so much, Anita, for that question. And it's great to be here. I've also watched the video and I felt that it was very heartfelt. That was our first meeting between Christelle and I. And we just automatically clicked, and it just shows the power of community. Like, we were talking and chatting till the producers asked us, do you know each other? We're like, no, we just met. So I think one of the things for me that I have realized in my entrepreneurial journey, and it's something that I keep saying over and over again, is sometimes when you have a vision, and it actually tends to be most times, what you see is not what many people around you see. So you can be seeing a solution or potential to make things better, but the people around you don't see it. You know, one of the most interesting questions I was asked is, we've been cooking this way for so long. I mean, we're still here. So why do you want to change how we do things? And I completely understand where they're coming from, because human beings are built to, fit into cultures and are built to fit into behaviors. But for me, from where I could sit and the privilege I had to be educated and to understand that this was affecting them, for me is what created the empathy to tie what I was seeing in my vision, to communicate clearly that to them and how it would build a better future for all of us. So it has not been easy, to answer your question. It hasn't been easy at all. We are going up against an industry that's, thousands of years old. I don't know if I know any industry older than charcoal. It's as old as fire, really. So we do have our work cut out for us, but we are starting to change people's minds. We're getting to a point where the global population is growing at an alarming rate. We can see what that's doing for our climate change, and people are starting to be aware. So, I mean, I'm excited every day to teach someone something new. I'm excited every day to learn from my community. It's been a wonderful journey.
We're going to be talking about journeys, but I just want to encourage our 120 participants that these young ladies, extraordinarily young ladies, will love to answer any questions you have, particularly when it comes to preparing for ABH. I think you ladies actually sailed through ABH. Christelle, did you sail through, or are you going to tell us the truth about that moment when you're on stage? Did you sail through? Tell us tell our participants who are going to apply what it felt like to be on that stage, Christelle.
Yeah, when I was applying, I was very confident I'm gonna come out on the top. But then as I started looking at the competition, it was a little bit scary. And then you look at the judges, and then it's like, well, my confidence is starting to go down a little bit. So I think the closer I got to the finals, and then finally being in the finals and pitching to Jack Ma and the other judges, it suddenly was like so real that this was tough. This was a big competition. But what really encouraged me to even apply was when I was reading, they're looking for heroes. They're looking for people who have earned the right to dream. I was like, they're looking for me. I better apply and go get this award. And I'm glad I did. But definitely, even though it's a competition looking for African heroes, there's so many out there, and it's still a competition. So I would encourage everyone to apply, because you don't know how you stack up against the rest, or we all have earned the right to dream. So it definitely felt that way until the stakes were really high. And remember, this is a lot of money, $1.5 million up for share. That's a lot of money. And going into the finals, we all knew we had a winning $65,000. So I was already comfortable, but it's like, okay, let me still try to go for the top prize, So it started getting real, how life-changing this moment already was, and how much more life-changing it could be if we went on to win the finals. So it was definitely a lot of weight resting on that moment. But it felt so comfortable. The judges, when Strive Masiwa asked me the first question, it was a question that got me talking. I was really excited to share with the judges my journey and my business. So it was all very comfortable, not as scary as the moment should have been.
Chibet, you won. So you are fresh on the ABH post-winning journey. How has it been for you? I mean, the whole world watching you, you walking away with this top post. How has it affected your business as well? How has it been, and how has it affected your business?
So first of all, let me just start by saying that's the biggest injection of funding that we've ever received. So if there's anybody else used to those kind of monies, we weren't. So for us, I think for me, what was the most humbling of the entire experience is that the 4 judges actually thought that I could be a business hero and represent Africa with a solution and a dream that had been turned down by so many people before. I was even scared I remember that day I was scared to present, because I was ready for the shutdown and I was ready for the pushback. So to finally get to that point where I heard, yes, we believe in you, and we think that this is a problem big enough that not only can you solve, but you can bring attention to. For me, that was absolutely the most humbling thing. So the injection of funding has been amazing for us. We're just going back into lockdown in my country, Kenya. And I can say I am sitting at a more comfortable place than I was at last year, because last year I didn't know if we were going to survive. I didn't know how I was going to, get the product to the families that need it if I was not able to pay salaries and I was not able to have enough money to operate the business. So at least now, in as much as it is still very difficult, don't get me wrong, it's still very difficult, but at least I can operate from a point of ability. I'm able to make decisions and have the backing and the financing to action those those decisions. Something else Africa Business Heroes did, it made us such celebrities. Like the doors we've been knocking forever and ever, and now they were the ones who are knocking on our door. And I think that pat on the back and that acknowledgement that we are actually a real business, the due diligence, as you were asking whether the competition was a sail through, I still think about how challenging it was. It was not a joke. I think it's possibly the most difficult fundraising journey that we went through. They made us think about every part of our business. They made us think about, the technical ability, but also the vision and the team and the opportunity. And we really had to spend a lot of time thinking through those different areas. And what that's done for us post ABH is it's made us better, where we have more clarity in what we're trying to do. We know what to say yes to and what to say no to. And we're braver. We can speak up. I mean, it was a tough journey. So I built some muscle learning how to speak, before people. So that has also really helped me in being able to operate better as a leader in the company.
Extraordinary. Now, I want to ask you ladies about your plans for the future, but I do have a few questions and I want to throw them to you before we run out of time. Samuel Uma wants to know from you, Chebet, and he says, well, you've been doing a great job, but he wants to know, have you received any support from the Kenyan government? And how can one be, most importantly, how can one be part of your organization?
Wow. That's an interesting question. The truth is, startups don't have it easy in the context where we're working in. Part of our role as entrepreneurs is really to speak up about how our governments can support us better. And this is something I take very dear to me. I would say the Kenyan government could do better. And I know a lot of my entrepreneurial friends in different parts of the African continent also think that their governments can do better. So as opposed to really focusing on the problem, I think we need to think about how we can make more noise about it and make these people who are sitting in those positions so uncomfortable that they need to do and change the way they strategize and the way they support young businesses. I'm not sure I remember the second question.
How can one be part of your organization?
Oh, well, I mean, we are always hiring and there's always opportunity to grow. So we're online, brightgreen.co.ke, brightgreen.africa. Please reach out to us. Let us know where you feel you can add value. So we're very much online and reachable even on phone. All that is on our website, yeah.
All right, beautiful. Christelle, I've got a question for you. How do we as startups build viable networks that can spur growth and attract finances or funds that can scale our businesses?
Yeah, that's always a great question. And I think it's sometimes a journey as an entrepreneur, because there's so many voices telling us how to raise money, how to go about stuff. Once your business is ready, so once you have your MVP, your stuff is in order, that's when you really can think about bringing in outside networks and support, because sometimes Chebet said it really well, don't fail at scale. So once you have a good something going and you need support to expand it, what I've found is warm introductions matter. And that's why a network like ABH is so important. You can try to get yourself into doors, but it's a lot of painful work. But once you make one connection, you make one friend, and that friend introduces you to the next friend, by far that's the easiest way for you to be able to raise money and gain friends within your entrepreneurship journey. And once you're part of networks like the ABH, whether you're a grand prize winner or a finalist or you arrived at some point within the competition, you have access to contacts, people who could reach out and connect you to other decision makers and financiers for your business. For us, we struggled for a long time to raise financing. We're in a very hard sector, one that's influenced a lot by regulations and obviously always riskier for the typical private investor. But since winning the ABH and all the accolades that come with that, the introductions, which for us actually in 2019 culminated in the president of Rwanda inviting us for a youth town hall together with Strive Masiwa, where he recognized us in front of all the ministers in the country through a youth town hall where he was telling how our business is amazing. So that kind of recognition, that kind of introduction, it's kind of, you win the ABH, and then from ABH, you get connected to the president. From the president, introduces you to ministers. You kind of grow that network. You have to be intentional about what's my end goal. Am I here just for the celebrity and the recognition? Or what do I actually want out of this platform for my business? What's going to drive the most success to my business right now? And having access to such networks, it's a good place to start and ask for introductions. Your network is your net worth, as most people say. I don't know who originally said that. But if you think about it, you have people within your network that can introduce you to the people you need access to. So always look at your network, at your friends, at your family, your classmates, your colleagues, like how many levels between you and your friends and who they know, how many levels are between you and the person you need to access. Because let me tell you, you will be much more successful at raising money, at gaining friends, at building your network when it comes through warm introductions. And as Africans, sometimes we've been on the kind of on the bad side of this whole warm introduction thing. Our network is not as big because most of us living in developing countries. So we don't have such a big, powerful network. We don't have that many local investors. So we often have to go outside to look for this, which is why initiatives like ABH are really bold, and also other people. I have somebody on my board who is really bold about bringing me the right introductions and the right financing for my business. So there's kind of people who have power and are willing to use their power to shift power to African business entrepreneurs and Africa business heroes. So this is really a great space to be. But once you're there, it's up to you to be really intentional about using that network and getting access to the introductions and support that you need.
Wonderful, beautifully said. To wrap this extraordinary hero to hero session, I want to ask both of you the same question. Let's talk about the future. What do you see in your future now that you are proud ABH alumni? Christelle, you can go ahead.
All right, let me go first. We've been derailed a lot by COVID-19, but actually COVID-19 reinforced the need for our business, giving access to piped safe water in the rural areas as well. Because when the COVID-19 crisis hit, for me, the horror was seeing how rural populations could not prevent COVID by simple acts like safe hand washing and social distancing, because every other service they need, from drinking water, is found in shared public spaces. So it's like we've been servicing rural communities in such a terrible manner that they can't even prevent pandemics like COVID-19. The future for us, as you know, as kind of came out in my video, I look at the water crisis, and it's a huge crisis spanning across all of sub-Saharan Africa. And we want to expand to be able to meet that crisis. But that requires building ourselves first for that expansion. So all over last year, we've been buying tools and building up the team. So this year, it's really making our transition to scale more realistic. So we're transitioning to scale, and at scale for us, it's some pretty big ambitions. But if you ask me on a personal level, it's a big ambition for the business, but I feel like we're very scratching the surface of the crisis, which is big. But we want to be in 12 countries by 2030 and impacting over 20 million lives by giving them affordable, reliable, safe water piped into their homes. And we hope through that journey that we will inspire others, that other young people will start up businesses that look like ours to really solve the water crisis in their own communities, in their own countries, and also expand alongside us. Because at 20 million users, that will still be a pretty small percentage of the current 450 million people affected by the water crisis. So that's why the future looks for us directly with the company. We're going to create a lot of employment. We're looking at 13,000 jobs created through Water Access Rwanda. I'm happy to announce that now we're going over 70 jobs created within the company. Despite all the crisis, we're still growing as a company. So I feel the future is bright. It sees us really impacting people's lives in a positive way, guaranteeing them access to a safe life basic need that is water. So I'm really excited to get to that future.
And the future is now. Chibet, what about you? Let's talk about your future. What are you seeing in it?
Okay, great. So one of the things for me that, even before I get into Bright Green, one of the things I see in terms of the future of African entrepreneurs, I see African entrepreneurs changing the narrative of Africa, changing what the world thinks about Africa. We're so fed up of hearing that Africa is a poor continent and all these narratives that have been said that are not accurate. And the change is going to come from entrepreneurs like Christelle. You know, I listen to Christelle and she amazes me, making the kind of change or the kind of impact that can only come from a place of vision and a place of passion. You know, we don't have anywhere to go. This is our home. So we have to make it better. And I see the drive and the passion as I really want to be a part of it. And that's why I continue to push for Bright Green to be able to make the impact in the cooking energy space that we are in. So at the moment, we're based in Kenya, but our goal by 2025 is to be in 4 countries in East Africa. And we see opportunity even further than just East Africa, because the problem that we're solving affects 800 million Africans. And this is it's a crazy percentage when you think about it. And so this is an opportunity to replicate our business, not only within East Africa, but also across the rest of the African continent. And more importantly, pass a message that different parts of the world have different needs. And unless we stand up and solve those needs, I strongly believe that nobody's going to come and do it for us, at least not with the kind of passion that we have as African entrepreneurs. So, I mean, just to lay out what the numbers are, we really want to push out at least 20 million units within the next 4 years. And we're really hoping to finally, stabilize our model such that we're supporting the communities at the base of the pyramid, because that's where the need that I mean, charcoal is used across different markets, but the biggest impact will come from reaching those who use it as a necessity and not as a luxury product. So that's where our focus really is on. And job creation is something that's also very close to my heart. I strongly believe that unless a business is sustainable and is able to keep itself moving and keep the people around it living decent lives of dignity, then it becomes very difficult to create long-term impact. So for me, those are the areas which I feel very strongly that we shall continue to work in. And I want to encourage anybody else, even who's listening in on this call, that think about the bigger picture. Think about where you want to be 20 years from now, what kind of impact you want to have 20 years from now, and then break it down into actionable steps. Okay. Thanks, Anita.
Thank you so much, ladies, but I'm not going to let you go. I just saw a question that you absolutely have to answer in 30 seconds, each of you. 30 seconds. African 30 seconds, real 30 seconds. Daisy Camden, I think from South Africa, says, congratulations, you two. You truly inspire me. What tip would you give us in terms of pitching? Do's and don'ts basically help us communicate our business better to the judges. So Chibet, you've got 30 seconds to answer this, and then Christelle, I'll come to you for 30 seconds.
Okay, first of all, the way we just got 30 seconds is what the judges are going to expect from you. You need to be succinct in passing your message, clearly articulate what you're trying to achieve in your business, articulate the technical aspects, articulate the vision. Don't get too much into nitty-gritties. Make sure the big vision is clear. Show why your ability and you as a leader are able and are the one to solve the challenge. So don't get too much into small talk. Keep it clear, keep it concise, and remain authentic. Let the judges see you.
32 seconds, almost there. Christelle, yes. Christelle,
absolutely what Chebet said. I'll just add a few things. Tell a simple story. The story should be about your customers, the people you are servicing with your business. It should be about your people, the people that trust to work with you in your business. And it should be about you. What is motivating you to do what you're doing, and how is it going to scale? Where do you see? What's your vision? Because remember, this is looking for heroes. And as a business, you're a hero to your customers. You're a hero to your staff, your people who are working with you. And then you, as a hero, you're bound to your vision. So focus on those things. Tell a simple story. Don't give too many facts. As Jack says, don't put lipstick on a monkey. Tell a simple story. Don't claim $1 billion market when your bank account is $1 million. So like, keep it simple. Focus on those key facts.
Christelle, I'll forgive you. It was 45 seconds, but I love you so much that I'm just going to let it go. All right. Thank you so much, Chebet and Christelle, for joining us. And thank you most importantly for being extraordinarily exemplary women on the continent of Africa. We continue to celebrate you. And as part of the ABH family, we will always come to you for more tips on how to make it big on the continent of Africa. Thank you very much, ladies. All right, we talked about 30 seconds, and this brings me to a very important slogan. It's African time. How many of you have walked into a meeting and the people have said, oh, I'm surprised you're on time. I didn't know Africans were on time. Well, there's a new army of Africans who are hell-bent on changing the image of Africa. And this army, we're bold, we're powerful, and we are going to lay claim to the beauty of Africa. And with that said, I want you all to take a look at this very important video. It's African time.
For years and decades, Africans have been known for unseriousness, tardiness about our way of life and our way of showing up at events. That narrative is changing.
Africa is in a unique position to lead the world in innovative, indigenous, distinctly African solutions.
Is our moment as Africans, our turning point. It is our time to shine.
Local entrepreneurs here in Africa to build products that not just only solve problems for Africans, but like for the rest of the world.
Nous allons changer notre économie. Nous allons changer l'image de notre Afrique. Nous sommes la future génération. Nous sommes le futur parce que l'Afrique.
Now, as you will know, African time is a time to show up and to show off our talents and how we can sustain our continent for ourselves, for our generation and the generations to come.
It's African time.
And it's African time.
C'est le temps de l'Afrique.
It is African time and it is our time.
Yes, it's African time, and that is our very bold, extraordinary. And I use the word extraordinary so many times because we're not ordinary anymore. We're going the extra mile to be extraordinary because Africa needs us to be such. It's African time, and that's our slogan. But, it is also your time. And so my question is, are you ready to be the next Africa's business hero? I think you are. Take a look at how you can apply.
We see you, African entrepreneur, and now the world needs to see you too. Are you ready to become a finalist of the Africa's Business Heroes competition? Are you ready to pitch to business legends and win your share of $1.5 million? Do you have passion, vision, and resilience? If you said yes to all these questions, it is your turn to apply now. Follow these 5 quick, easy steps to start your journey to become a hero. Step 1. Set up an account. Fill in your details. Click register. and you are one step in. Step 2, read the guidelines carefully on the next page. Visit africasbusinessheroes.org for the ANPI 2021 guidelines. Step 3, the criteria for eligibility? Simple. You should be the founder or a co-founder of a company. You should have African citizenship or be the child or grandchild of an African citizen. Your company has to be registered, headquartered and operated in an African country. Your company should be at least 3 years old or more and have at least 3 years of revenue history. Step 4, get a reference. It could be your mentor, colleague, teacher, or advisor. Step 5, record and submit video introductions of yourself, your employee, and a customer. And finally, submit your application. Your application includes these 4 sections: founder profile, company profile, and a business deep dive. If you get stuck at any point, don't worry. Visit africabusinessheroes.org to read our FAQs, or to chat with our support heroes, or send an email to info@africabusinessheroes.org. Now it's your turn to become a African Business Heroes finalist and win a share of $1.5 million. Apply now.
Apply now. No procrastination, no thinking about it. I know you can be the next ABH finalist. Top 10, top 20, top 50, thrive and strive. Apply now. Don't even think about it. Now, the question about applying is also quite, deep. And with that said, I know a lot of you have questions. We'll be taking questions in a few minutes, but before that, we need to speak to a very important element in the ABH family. Zara Head is the head of programs and partnerships at ABH, and she's joining us right now. Mrs. Zara Boating, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Anita. It's always a pleasure to connect with you.
Pleasure is all mine. So we're here again. A year goes by so fast. And we're here to look for more fantastic, outstanding entrepreneurs. But Zara, biggest question that a lot of people will want to know is, what are the requirements for each section of the application?
Thank you, Anita. To all our listeners and aspiring applicants, our future Africa Business Heroes finalists, thank you for joining in today. It would be a pleasure to provide some insights into the various sections of the application. As the video highlighted, we have a few different sections. The first section is the eligibility check. In this section, we ask our applicants, as the video stated, to confirm they meet our criteria. We ask them to confirm that they are a founder or co-founder, they are of African descent, and the business is registered and operated in Africa. And importantly, that it's post-idea stage with at least 3 years of revenue. And that's it, that's the eligibility. We often get questions about whether you have to be from a particular sector, and the answer is no. We're sector agnostic. There are no requirements about the industry that you come from to apply. I saw a question in the chat about whether a school can apply. You certainly can. Indeed, 2 of our 2020 heroes come from the education sector and run schools. So once applicants pass the eligibility check, we have a reference section. For all aspiring entrepreneurs tuned in, we'd like you to request a reference from someone who can tell us more about who you are and why you do what you do. We would like to know from their perspective why they think you are a good fit for the prize. So we ask that you pick someone who can speak about your character, your drive, and your achievements. Next, we have the founder profile. In this section, we ask you, our aspiring applicants, to provide information on who you are as an individual and an entrepreneur. At ABH, who our heroes are, what they believe in, what they do, and their motivations are equally important to us as the robustness of the businesses. Basically, I was just sharing that the reference is an important opportunity for us to hear from another person why you're a good fit for the prize. Following the reference section, we have the founder profile. And in this section, we ask you, our aspiring ABH finalists, to provide information on who you are as an individual and an entrepreneur. At ABH, who our heroes are, what they believe in, what they do, and their motivations are equally important to us as the robustness of the businesses that they lead. Examples of questions in this section are, what motivated you to become an entrepreneur? What are your interests and motivations? Why did you found your company? And these all allow us to understand who you are as a person. Following this section is the business profile. And the business profile is your opportunity to give our judges a basic understanding of your company, such as the industry you operate in, the size of your business, the number of employees you have, the areas and countries that you operate in, and other such questions. Once you're done providing us with this information on who you are as an entrepreneur and your general company, we ask that you deep dive and provide us with key details about your business in the business deep dive section. So this section asks you to give us the key details about your business. This is an opportunity to share the impact you're creating, why you're doing it, and how you're doing so. So we ask questions about your revenue model, your financial history, the competitiveness of your solution, your team, and specific questions such as what problem are you trying to solve and what inspired you to solve it? How does the business solve the problem? And what impact is your business creating for its community? And lastly, we have the video introduction section. And this is a chance for you to bring some of your own character, your flair and passion to the application. You can bring your story to life in short videos of yourself, a team member, and a customer. The videos provide our judges a chance to really understand you, your business, and your team a bit better. So we ask that you take the video seriously, but also have fun with it. Be your authentic self. There are sample videos within the application itself, and we think that it will be a great opportunity to initially get to meet you. So these are the main sections within the application. Anita, do I still have you?
Judges. I mean, I know that the judges can really be some of the biggest, the most, the strongest in the industries, you know, that ABH is affiliated with. What does it take to impress these judges? What are they looking for, Zara?
So I would say our judges are looking for entrepreneurs who are bold, who are resilient, who are visionary and impact driven. I think our heroes who just spoke, Chibet and Christelle, are perfect examples. So I encourage all those on the call to take a look at who our 2019, 2020 heroes are, what it is they do, and it gives you a good indication. You'll see they come from different sectors, they come from all over Africa, but they're all united by this drive to be change makers on the continent. Importantly, they're all solving a significant problem in their community or industry in an innovative way. They have market traction and a sustainable business model. So to help us identify entrepreneurs who fit this profile, our judges use a set of criteria. So namely, they look out for mission, vision, and passion of the entrepreneur. They assess the motivations of the entrepreneurs and their goals. They look at the problem and need. Our judges evaluate whether the problem or need being addressed by all our aspiring finalists is significant. So we're looking for businesses that are solving specific pain points for customers or addressing unfulfilled needs. They're also looking at the solution. ABA judges assess how the business is addressing the problem or need that was identified and whether the solution is unique and has competitive advantage. They're looking at market traction. Our judges look out for whether there is demand for the business, product, or service. For example, they assess how many customers do you have as a business? How have your customer profile changed over time? Do your customers show demand and an appreciation for your solution? This is why the customer testimonial video is so important. We look at financial sustainability. As our hero shared, the prize money that we give out is significant. So we want to be sure that the winners and those who go on to become our heroes have demonstrated some financial robustness. We place emphasis on revenue models that show scalability and that have generated income. Doesn't necessarily have to be profit, but we want to see that your business is actually generating income and you have a plan to continue to develop and to scale. So this is why it's critical that you have at least 3 years of revenue in order to apply. We also look at team. Our judges assess how the aspiring ABH finalists engages and motivates their team, and whether the team members buy into the vision of the business. So we believe in the power of teamwork, and we're looking for entrepreneurs who have strong teams and have demonstrated leadership qualities. And lastly, we look at the references. ABA judges take what your reference has to say about you seriously. We factor in their testimonial of you and your business. Again, we're looking for leaders who exist in a wider context. So it's important to know what others say about you and the impact that you've had. So overall, Anita, I would say You know, we're looking for passionate, mission-driven, impact-oriented, resilient, and bold entrepreneurs, and our past heroes are perfect examples of that.
Zara, and finally, I've got hundreds of people who are already starting their application, and they want Zara to tell us a few tips. What does a successful application look like? What's in it, Zara? Share that with us, please.
So I think some of what I've shared around the criteria hopefully hints at some of that. I would say successful applications are concise. At the same time, they highlight value add and competitiveness. But there are a few things that I think are important for aspiring finalists to keep in mind if they want to put forward a strong application. So one is, I think it's important to start early. Applications close on June 7th, and I think it can become easy for people to think, wow, I have 10 weeks, I'll take my time. However, we recommend you start early. It's an extensive application. Like Chibet said, a lot of the questions we ask will force you to introspect, will force you to take time out and really think about your business model, about your leadership style. So it takes time to answer these questions well. So I suggest start early, because some of the strongest applications we receive come from individuals who started early and so had enough time to develop strong answers and review the application. So please don't wait till the last minute. Applications are open today at africabusinessheroes.org. So recommend people to get a head start today. Secondly, I would say be consistent. Christelle also spoke about this. Ensure you have a narrative, a very coherent and cohesive narrative, and your application is a chance to put forward that narrative. Why are you doing what you're doing? How are you doing it? Some of you listening in may be serial entrepreneurs. We get questions sometimes from entrepreneurs who have 3-4 businesses and they want to apply. You certainly can do that, but it's important that you focus on one business, one narrative, so that our judges can really understand the impact you're creating with a specific business and how you're doing so. Thirdly, you should be clear and concise. Throughout the application, we've provided you with word limits. So we ask that you please stay within the limits. Try to be as straightforward as possible. Chibet also spoke about how at the pitch, for example, you will be given a very limited time to express your ideas, to express your value add, the value add that your business is creating. And the application, even at the early stages when it's a written one, is a good chance to practice this. I would also say demonstrate your answers. Provide examples to highlight your point. For example, when you're explaining the problem your business is solving, share very specific statistics and numbers that provide some evidence to back up what you're saying. So please demonstrate your answers when you can. Make it personal. Tell the story of who you are and give our judges a chance to get to know you. So make sure your authentic voice comes through, and you can do that in the founder profile section as well as in the video introduction. And then lastly, review and get feedback. You can download the application, so we recommend that you consider doing this. It will allow you to work on it offline, save your answers. You can conduct a self-review yourself, but also share it with a trusted mentor, advisor, even your co-founder if you have one, to review, give you feedback. And once you've updated and you're happy with your answers, you can do it, you can then submit it online, and voila, you're through. So I would say these are some of the key things that we would like to encourage all those listening to consider in order to put a strong best foot forward.
Thank you so much, Zara. And I do have a couple of questions for you. Patrick Mulindwa wants to know, he says, I'm a founder of a social enterprise youth entrepreneurship, Spark Uganda. We just launched a campaign on popularizing TVET as a response to youth unemployment, mainly caused by COVID-19. And I would like to know if ABH would be interested in a project of this nature.
Thanks, Nita. So we are open to companies from all sectors. So this would certainly be something that we'd be interested in, so long as it meets our other criteria. That is, it's a registered company, and it's been in existence for at least 3 years and has revenue. If those criteria, if you meet those criteria, most certainly we welcome you to apply.
All right, I have another question coming from Jubilani Imkize. Oh, I really hope that I pronounced this properly. What is the most important as an African that we should do in order to combine our businesses to work together and be successful? It's a little bit more general, but I think he wants some inspiration. So what is the most important as an African that we should do in order to combine our business to work together and be successful?
I feel this is in some ways a perfect question for some of our heroes, actually, because many of them are collaborating and working with one another. So I would say collaboration is certainly very important. I'll give an example. So 2 of our 2019 heroes have collaborated and are growing from it. So Kevin, who manufactures shoes, designs and manufactures handmade shoes in Rwanda, has partnered with Afrikia, Mulaye of Afrikia, to sell her products on Afrikia and reach a global audience. So networking, as both Chibet and Chriselle spoke to, alluded to, is important, but also ensuring that you collaborate, reach out to companies that can support what you're doing or others that you can learn from. And I think that can help to make a difference.
All right. Let's see if I have any more questions for you. I do have a question from Somalia. Oh, this is from Jim Curly Farah. Forgive me if I murdered your name. Please forgive me. Now, is the video optional or mandatory? And what chance would somebody have if they don't submit their video but finish everything else?
So the video is mandatory. As I mentioned, it's a very important opportunity for us to get to see the person behind the written words and to get a chance to understand who your team is, your team members are, and your customers. So it's certainly mandatory, and you can't actually submit your application if you don't have the video. However, what we have done to try and make it easier for people to submit is we know that in some places, internet connection may make uploads difficult. So you can submit a link to a video if it exists on YouTube, for example. Regardless of the case, it's certainly mandatory, but we do have resources to support you film the video. So if you go into the application, when you get to the video introduction section, you'll see sample videos that you can watch, and that will hopefully guide you in submitting one.
All right, a question coming to you from Jackie Rogers. How much revenue must my company have before I can apply?
Thanks for the question, Jack. So you don't have to have, there's no minimum threshold. You are welcome to apply regardless of the revenue that you have. However, you do need to have revenue in 3 distinct years. So ideally that revenue should be on an upward trend. However, of course, there are things that happen, there's COVID. So there's no minimum amount. And of course, we'll take into account your overall business, the industry that you operate in. Okay. But you certainly do have to have 3 years of revenue in order to apply.
All right. Couple more for you, Zara. This is anonymous. If you have a foreign co-founder who is not African, do you still qualify?
Good question. So if you, the applicant, are a co-founder yourself or founder and are African, you can apply. If your co-founder is not African, you can still apply. But the person applying has to be African and a co-founder. So what that means is you can't, if the founder is non-African and you are an employee, you can't apply on behalf of that person. But if you are both truly co-founders, you certainly can apply if your co-founder is not African.
Okay, from Samuel Uma, are the last 2 editions participants eligible to apply, especially those who may have been unsuccessful?
Yes, indeed, you are most welcome to apply. We know that entrepreneurship is a journey, and so where you are in 2020 is not necessarily where you are in 2021. So we welcome you to apply.
All right. Daisy Camden says, I got word from the competition late last year and was unable to finish the application. Can I continue where I left off? Do you need financial reports to be recent?
Good question. Yes, you ideally should be able to continue where you logged off. So you'll have to log in with your details and your financial reports should be recent, so please do put your most recent financial revenue to date.
All right, Lumbi Mlambo says, do businesses have to be registered on the African continent, or would you accept a business registered, say, in the USA, but doing business in Africa?
Businesses have to be registered and headquartered in Africa.
Okay, all right. I have a question for, sorry, Zara, go ahead, please.
No, so I'm just saying, so no, if the company is registered in the US without a local headquartered company here, they wouldn't be able to apply.
All right, okay, so I've got a question for Jason. So Jason, you're gonna have to come back online. And Jason, the question is, clearly you went through something extraordinary last year, the COVID-19 pandemic, I guess they mean. What do you envision this competition would become after its 10th year, plus or minus any more pandemics?
Yeah, great question. And it's certainly hard to predict what's going to happen in the world, particularly with the virus. But here's our hope. You know, after 10 years, I really do hope that the ABH as a platform is a sustainable one. It's one that is thriving. It is one that has impacted millions of African entrepreneurs. And let me just take a step back. You know, what we're doing here is we're hoping to build not only the best prize there is for entrepreneurs, we're looking to also build a platform that will provide African entrepreneurs a narrative, a voice, not only across Africa, but around the world. And we think that's really important. We are also really inspired by the potential for African entrepreneurs to work together. This is something that was mentioned earlier. It's the whole ecosystem that we've clearly found when it's working together, it can accomplish big, big things. And it's not just in Africa alone. African entrepreneurs have the ability, have the innovation, have the grit to go out and take on foreign markets as well. So when we look back 10 years from now, I really do hope that, you know, we can say that this is continuing, this is thriving, this is growing even bigger. And yes, I would love to see a few African entrepreneurs IPO. Yes, I would love to see Africa become the top spot for investment globally. I would love to see the stories be remembered. And if we could be a small part of that, then I think our mission is complete.
Beautifully said, Jason. Wonderful. I've got so many questions here, so little time. Okay, so but I have a question here for Christelle and for Chibet as well. So Christelle and Chibet, I think this question is a lot more to the people who have been in the hot seat. And Mary wants to know, well, Christelle, either of you can take it. Mary wants to know, what's the one thing I must practice before I face the judges? Because I hear they're pretty tough.
I'd say just practice your pitch and know your facts. There's nothing that's going to happen when you're pitching to the judges that's not already part of your story and your journey as a business. So just remember your facts and practice what you're gonna say. One thing that helps me is knowing how to answer a question effectively. Start high level, go straight to the answer, and then give, you know, why does this matter? Why does your answer to that question matter the way you answered it? So I'd say, you know, just practice what you're going to say and get some good public speaking skills going.
All right, last question to you, Chibet. And this is coming from Nathan. Is Chibet here with us? Yes, she is. And Nathan wants to know, Chibet, what it felt like to hold that big check in that moment. Chibet. Sorry, did we lose Chibet? No problem at all. All right, so Zara, Jason, Christelle, Chibet, the ABH team, Michael, Miriam, you guys are extraordinary. Donna, this kind of project is never done by one person. there is an engine room of dedicated people wanting to ensure that one of you, 10 finalists, the top 50, are able to access the best funding, the best advice, the best networking, the best training of the process or the journey of your entrepreneurship lives. So with that said, on the screen, we've got the website is africabusinessheroes.org. In there, you'll find the application guidelines. We've also got customer service options, live chat, info@africabusinessheroes.org. You can send us an email. We're also live on WhatsApp at +254 793 265 919 or by phone +254 709 370 770. Good luck. So ladies and gentlemen, on the continent, around the world, my name is Anita Erskine. And today, this moment, we have started on an entire new journey, Africa's Business Heroes 3.0. We're looking for the heroes. But more importantly, we want you to believe that it's African time. We're waiting to see your application. See you later. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.